Hello parents, this is Kim McCune. The purpose of this presentation is to help you understand what remote learning will look like if a student, class, or maybe even the whole building should have to move from on-site to remote at some point during the 2020-21 school year. Remote learning is different from the continuous learning plan that we had during the last quarter of the 2019-20 school year. In the spring, the state waived the hourly requirement for students to be in attendance at school and gave much grace in regards to the content of what was being taught. They did not waive these requirements for the 2020-21 school year. The state has increased the requirements on Kansas school districts for the rigor and accountability of our remote learning plans. Remote learners are expected to be engaged in 6 hours of lessons and learning activities each day. They must be present for attendance in the AM and PM sessions of learning, and they must learn the same content as their on-site peers. In order to do this, our district has chosen to present synchronous or live-streamed lessons to students who have chosen the remote option. Attendance will be taken for each remote student during live-streamed lessons throughout the school day. It is important to note that if students who chose the on-site option are forced to a remote situation, lessons will be delivered both synchronous and asynchronous. In other words, lessons will be live-streamed as they are taught, but also recorded. One teacher from each grade level has been selected to teach students who chose the remote option. Grade level remote teachers are first grade Mrs. Taylor, second grade Mr. Siner, third grade Mrs. Ingram, fourth grade Ms. Rosales, and fifth grade Mrs. Seals. Mrs. Dunnigan and Ms. Dunham will assist these teachers by providing intervention services to students and hosting a wrap-up meeting via Google Meets each day. If a classroom should be forced to remote, their regular classroom teacher will continue to be their teacher and live stream lessons. If a remote student should choose to return to the on-site setting later in the year, they will not be guaranteed to have the same homeroom teacher as they have had in the remote setting. As mentioned earlier, the school district is responsible for being able to show that all students enrolled in school are in attendance and learning the same content. The next few slides will explain how we will schedule class and meet attendance requirements. They will also explain what will be expected of learners. Remote students will be expected to participate in a minimum of 6 hours of learning activities daily. This includes live-streamed lessons, work time, and other activities. A schedule will be sent to your child from their teacher via the Seesaw or Google Classroom application. It will explain when students tune into live-stream lessons and include a link that can be used to join their class. It will also walk them through other activities for their day. Examples of what that might look like for primary grades and intermediate grades can be seen on this slide. So, what is expected of a remote student? They are expected to be on time, logged in, and ready for instruction at designated times for their class schedule. Remote students should use respectful etiquette during instruction and student discussions. All assignments will be due for remote students the following school day. Students working remotely should set up a workspace that is quiet and free from distractions. And parents of students choosing remote should be supportive and encouraging, but expect their child to do their part. Parents should also monitor students' time requirements and assignment completion. The learning plan for remote students has several components. Remote students will complete benchmark testing and progress monitoring. They will also be assessed after each unit of study to determine mastery. Remote students will receive quality instruction from a highly qualified teacher and learn the same content standards as on-site students. Students are expected to be fully engaged in lessons, and weekly parent communication will occur. To accomplish benchmark testing, remote students will come to the school by appointment to be assessed. Devices and other needed materials will be distributed during the student's assessment appointment or appointments. It may take more than one session to test. Device distribution to students forced into a remote situation will be organized similar to how device distribution was conducted in the spring for continuous learning. All core subjects will be taught to remote learners: reading, language arts, math, science, and social studies. Remote learners will also be expected to practice basic reading and math skills and will be provided with a rotation of special class activities. This slide shows some of the online resources that will be utilized with remote and on-site learners. Remote students with an IEP will have daily communication through live scheduled support sessions. It will be up to the remote learner to utilize these services. IEP requirements and service minutes will be met by using the digital platforms provided. A meeting will be scheduled for each student with an IEP within the first quarter of the school year. If you have questions about your student with an IEP, please speak to their special education teacher. During this portion of our live meeting, we demonstrated how to log in to Google Classroom and Seesaw platforms and join a Google Meet session. When students come to the building to be assessed, we will review this with them. On-site students will be taught how to use these applications from the beginning of the school year, so that in the case that they are forced into the remote setting, they will know how to use the tools needed for remote learning. I imagine that you may have many questions that are still unanswered. Believe me, we understand. We are all learning new things right now. I encourage you to reach out to your child's teacher once we get going. They will be your best resource for unanswered questions. Danielle Dunnigan, Christina Dunham, and I will also be happy to do anything we can to help.